This is part 2 to a video we did a few years ago talking about our favorite Hillsong riffs. This video, we're showing you 6 of those, 6 more to the 5 we already have done. And we're also doing a preset with new tone match, patches, captures, presets, all that. just heard 6 of our favorite Hillsong riffs. We did a video several years back that Brian and I think, honestly forgot we did at one point. Talking about, we did 5 of our favorite Hillsong riffs. Hosanna, From the Inside Out, I Surrender, those were in there. Can't remember what else. But we did it, and we realized a couple months ago, that that video did incredibly well, like 200 some odd thousand views. And we did in fact use it, yes, to promote a patch we were releasing. And so we thought, that kind of stuff is fun, so let's do it again. We did 6 of our favorite Hillsong riffs. I say Hillsong, most of them are gonna be Nigel Hendroff, Droff, as he's affectionately known by those who, well, I would like to call him my friend. I met him once at NAMM. But Droff, if you're watching this, Brian and I both, from the bottom of our hearts, want to tell you how inspirational you've been to us and many others to how we play guitar. And that's actually what I want to talk about real quick. Break Free, Take It All were 2 of the riffs that I played. Very similar in tempo, similar time frame within several years of each other. And they're just a lot of fun. I grew up trying to learn how to play like some of the oldies that my dad listened to when I was younger, try to play whatever was on the radio, the top 40 kind of radio, you know, Kryptonite was big then, some Green Day stuff, Nickelback was on the radio, Creed was on the radio, like those were guys I wanted to learn those riffs. Shout out though to 94.9 The Point in the 757, that was my radio station when I was home. But when I started playing worship music, I was like, I didn't really get it. And I think a lot of people may resonate with that. You may say you don't really get what worship music is about, even though you play in a church. I'm going on, that's not what this is about. Take It All and Break Free were 2 songs that were a lot of fun to play and had some cool riffs to them. But the one I want to talk about a little bit more is The Stand. Now you may be listening being like, I wouldn't really call what that is as a riff. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. You may be like, I don't really know if I'd call it much of a part, and you know, that's fine. But I remember one day I was working on the song and I learned that part of, and I realized just like what that kind of thing unlocked and what that added to that song. Now, it's not following the chord progression. You're playing, really, this is just a great technique. If you're playing bar chords on the A string, you're really just picking the D and the B. So it's a D chord, E, F sharp minor, back to the E, right? But like, it's a little theory lesson, little guitar part lesson for you here. But you're not following, that's not what's happening in the song at that moment. But I remember it just really unlocking a new thing for me. And then the next part that I did after, it's like this little like, that part, it's so simple, and you think that's really dumb. When you play it on its own, it kind of just doesn't really, it's kind of boring. But here's the thing about music. Music is often not played with one person by themselves. So in this instance, that part does something very particular in that song. It adds a lot, and I really learned a lot about playing guitar parts and how to add layers and textures from doing The Stand and Salvation Is Here. Which I don't think actually was in our other video either, which is kind of funny that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so 3 of my favorites, and Brian's got 3 of his.
I have led these songs so many times over the years, and Lead Me to the Cross is one that I've always loved, and I love the guitar parts in it. So that line that comes into after like, lead me to the cross, da-na-na-na, it's just such a cool part. That has some interesting movement, and you get to play it sort of all by yourself because it's like right after, you know, it's not, there's no lyric competing with it, anything like that. Another thing I like about it is it's often, you know, it's a female-led song on the albums. It's Brooke leading that song. So often we would do it with a female vocalist leading the song. So I'd get to, like, as a worship leader, I would get to play guitar more on that song. So it let me kind of just sit back and play guitar and just like, you know, be in the moment without leading the song, which is nice as a worship leader. The God is Able album is one of my all-time favorite Hillsong worship albums. You know, I was mostly playing acoustic guitar at that time when those songs came out and we started leading those songs. And God is Able is actually one of the first like lead electric guitar parts that I actually learned. And I remember as an acoustic strummer, when I first like learned it and played it and got the tone right, it was like, wow, I can sound like what I hear on the album. This is amazing. So that was a lot of fun for me to learn that song. It's always been one of my favorites, mostly because of that. If I had to pick my all-time favorite Hillsong song, that would be a difficult. I don't think I can pick a favorite, but With Everything is definitely one of my all-time favorite worship songs, period. But one of my favorite Hillsong songs. It's been one of my favorite ones to lead. We used to do that song a lot at my old church where I served as a worship leader. Now, I'm not a big fan of songs where entire sections of the song lyrically are woe. Like With Everything has this. But in this case, I feel like it really works. It's like you make this declaration, with everything, we'll give you everything. And then there's this whoa, it's almost like a heart cry, the way that it has been, the way that our congregation would sing that part out. And some of the most powerful moments of corporate worship that I've ever experienced in a room together, with my friends and church family have been during that song. And if you do it where everything comes down, you build, drop. Whoa! Gosh, it's awesome. So this one is an example of a song where there aren't like distinct parts in it. It's very textural. So Nigel does a lot of textural stuff. And I think Bradford is talking about a very similar thing with The Stand, because it's a similar kind of thing. So it's a lot of like ambient textural stuff. So you can use that ambi trill snapshot, and it really nails those sort of parts that he does. But it also sort of taught me like how to play these kinds of power chords. That kind of stuff. Like, that's praise and worship guitar 101. Thanks, Nigel. The songs like With Everything really taught me how to play that kind of rhythm electric guitar. So it's a lot of rhythm guitar parts, but very sort of specific, and with the way the effects are dialed in, it just has that huge wall of sound. So With Everything, one of my all-time faves. I want to walk through what you're getting with this preset. I'm going to use the Helix as our example here. So this is available for Line 6 Helix, NHX Stomp, and then Fractal, Axe-Fx 3, and FM9, and Quad Cortex. So these are the units that support full-on presets using dual amps. Unfortunately, Pod Go and FM3 cannot do 2 amp blocks in the same preset. This does really rely on stereo amps because, first of all, core tone wise. Now, Nigel Hendroff has over the years used many different iterations of amplifiers and effects. He's constantly changing things out. We recently got a hold of his signature amp that he did with Jackson, the Scarlett, which is an AC30 voiced amplifier, and he's often used matchless amplifiers in stereo with an AC30 type of amplifier. He's used smaller amps like an AC15, AC30, matchless, I think like a Spitfire, which is like one of their 15 watt versions. I think he's used C30s before. There's quite a bit of content out there where he's walking through different rigs or talking about different rigs, and he uses like a variety of amplifiers, but it almost always sort of falls in these British Vox voiced amps with like a matchless and a Vox thing in stereo. So the Jackson and the C30 are what we've gone with in stereo for this preset. Now, Nigel does a lot of textural type stuff. You've heard that in these playing demos. So we've replicated that using, and a lot of it uses delays and pitch effects. So we've got a lot of delay options in these presets. You're gonna get like a stereo delay, you're gonna get a dotted eighth delay, an eighth note delay. So those are kind of like your standard type delays, but he also uses reverse delay quite a bit. So like in the ambient clean preset, you're going to get a reverse delay. And then in like that ambient trill thing, it uses like a very high mix 16th note delay. So you can sort of, if you're in tempo, let me demonstrate this. So we're at 79 BPM. I'm going to turn on the ambient trill snapshot, and you'll hear there's a lot of delay happening there, and it's really high repeat. But the idea is you kind of pick one E and a two, like a 16th note pick. It's going to give you that trill sort of wall of sound. Now you can like trill pick if you want. And this is what I demonstrated in the With Everything sample. It sounds like this. Now in our swells sounds, like the snapshots, the scenes, you're gonna get like all those ambient type delays, but there's a shimmer component. So Nigel will often use pitch and shimmer to create textural type stuff. So it's gonna sound like this. Now we also tried to replicate what he will often do for his drive section. So he has a signature overdrive called the Scarlet Drive, and it kind of replicates a Klon, a Tube Screamer, and a Plexi style drive. And if you watch his rig rundowns, Bradford and I were kind of texting back and forth about this. It's like the guy has like 4 Tube Screamers on every board. He likes Tube Screamers. You want some mids with your mids? Okay. You got them. So we've given you like a low gain drive. In the Helix, we're using the Timmy. In the Fractal, we're using the Timmy. There's not a Timmy in the Quad Cortex. So you've got like this low gain drive that we're using. Now for the bigger type of drive, we used like a Plexi, a Marshall style drive. So for line 6 and Fractal, to get that Plexi big type of drive, we're using the King of Tone, and that is gonna like gained up cranked. So that's like a blues breaker thing. It's gonna give you that Marshall driven type of a tone. In the Quad Cortex, we're using the Governor, which is a great sounding overdrive pedal. It gets you in the same ballpark. And then there's also a big Tube Screamer type tone in here as well. And then you can stack those different drives to get different levels of overdrive. So I'm gonna kind of go through here these snapshots or the scenes. So we're gonna go clean, drive, bigger drive to like a big lead tone and show you how that sounds. Finally, there is a POG lead snapshot. He'll do that from time to time. It's pretty similar to the regular lead, just adds the POG on top of it. Again, links are below. We've got more information there, and you can purchase these presets if you like. Let us know what your favorite Hillsong riffs are. We had so much fun doing these. I texted my worship leader, and I was like, we have to do like a 2005 through 2020 Hillsong worship night. Please schedule like every song that came out from that 15-year period. I'll be down. Everyone's getting saved again. They're so good. We've had so much fun making these. We hope you enjoy playing it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.